Hello, and welcome to the History of Our Home with me, Mackenzie Plain.
And me, Kayla Reeves. First off, we're going to talk about George Washington, who was an absolutely great first president.
He sure was. In 1789, George Washington began his term as the first president. At this time, the U.S. Capitol was in New York City. It definitely changed.
Washington took the oath of office on April 30th, 1789.
Washington had to set up a government. First, Congress passed laws to set up 3 departments of the executive branch, which are the Treasury, State, and War. He also appointed an attorney general to advise him on legal matters, which I think was pretty smart.
Yeah, 'cause 2 heads are better than 1. He chose Alexander Hamilton to be Secretary of the Treasury. Thomas Jefferson, the writer of the Declaration of Independence, became Secretary of State. Henry Knox became Secretary of War. And Edmund Randolph became Attorney General. All these people formed the cabinet.
And they still have the cabinet today. There was a Supreme Court of 6 justices, and under them were 3 circuit courts and 13 district courts. The government owed $15 million, mainly in the form of bonds, after the Revolution. Hamilton's plan to get out of this debt had 3 parts. First, the U.S. government agreed to pay all the debts. Then the U.S. government would make a national bank, and then they would oppose a high import tax.
In 1791, Congress made a tax on all whiskey. In 1794, when the officials in Pennsylvania tried to collect the tax, the farmers rebelled, burning down the house of the tax collector. This was known as the Whiskey Rebellion.
Don't you think they overacted just a little bit?
Yeah, maybe just a little.
Washington sent 13,000 troops, and they scattered. Then the rebels from the Whiskey Rebellion were pardoned. Most people holding political office disliked the idea of factions or political parties. During the first half of the 1790s, Republicans and Federalists, now known as Democrats, took shape.
Republicans wanted power to go to the states and all the people. They also opposed the national tariff and the national bank. Key leaders in the Republican Party were James Madison and Thomas Jefferson. They emphasized agriculture, were pro-French, and wanted a strict interpretation of the Constitution.
Federalists, now known as Democrats, were led by Alexander Hamilton. They wanted a strong central government. They emphasized manufacturing, shipping, and trade. They were pro-British, like me, wanted a loose interpretation of the Constitution, and favored the national bank and tariff. They also believed the wealthy and educated should lead.
Pro-British like you? More like pro-One Direction. Well, Jefferson resigned as Secretary of State because he was very unhappy with the government.
Washington didn't like factions, and I wouldn't either, but he usually supported Hamilton and the Federalists. In 1796, Washington said he would not try for a 3rd term. No president since asked for a 3rd term until 1940, when Franklin Roosevelt did.
The Republican candidate for president was Thomas Jefferson. The Federalist candidate was John Adams, who had previously been vice president. John Adams won. Back then, the second-place candidate became vice president. Not surprisingly, this led to a lot of tension.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be in office with the person who beat me in the race.
I'm glad they don't do it like that anymore.
Well, that's it for today on The History of Our Home. See you next time.